Good afternoon. I'm going to talk about two ideas and why dumb and stupid ideas spread like wildfire and how to stop it. Like and subscribe and comment and complain down below. So, the first stupid idea I'm going to talk about is the one that is spreading in the United States, and that is socialism. So, why is a method of government redistribution that has failed all around the world suddenly on the rise? It can't be because the economy sucks, because at 3.8% unemployment, the highest utilization of employment talent, and wage growth of 3.4% year over year, why would socialism be on the rise? Well, it's because elections have consequences. And when your Republicans tend to be, that are more moderate, like Carlos Curbelo and Mia Love, tend to be replaced by Democrats. And when your Democratic gerrymandering, and yes, Democrats do gerrymander, it is an equal opportunity stupidity on your state government. When they're gerrymandered into safe districts, and then all of a sudden, if you are a devout socialist, you get to go, do I really want a moderate Democrat leading my district? No, let's talk about stupid ideas that we believe in, and you get elected. That's when you get the AOCs and Tbilisi and the Gabbards and all these socialist marks, is because of the great gerrymandering that's out there. And so even though Venezuela, which here in South Florida, where I am, is in our news, on our local news, and we get to see how, well, they don't get to see because they've been without power for 4 days in the entire country, and how the economy in Venezuela is getting more and more people to move to Doral, and how we have to continue to impress upon the national press that Juan Guerrero is not the um, self self-declared president. He's not the opposition leader. He's the acting president of Venezuela, and who Maduro is not the president. He's the um, illegal dictator. When we have to expose that to the national press, because when you talk about Venezuela, you talk about it for a minute on CNN, or maybe 2 minutes on Fox News, or a minute and a half on MSNBC, and they don't get the terms right, then people think, oh, that's just a one-off with Venezuela. It's just a problem with Venezuela. We barely hear about it, but it's just a one-off. Let's talk about Sweden. Okay, let's talk about Sweden for a second. Because, yes, there is a program to nationalize healthcare that's like that in most of Western Europe. But, yeah, they also do have more capitalism than most countries. They do have a rising economy, and they have a lot of co-ops. It's a lot of small capitalism. But when you live in a country like the U.S. and you have a party of the president you really don't like, and you have a booming economy, you can think about things like socialism in theory, and it begins to rise. And look, if Democrats want to, if they want to nominate somebody not named Biden or Gillibrand to be their nominee, if they really want to do Cory Booker or Kamala Harris or Bernie Sanders, and you want to lose in 2020, be my guest, because you kind of need a moderate. Okay, you need a Bill Clinton, but not Bill Clinton. You need you need a Barack Obama in his policies and not Barack Obama in his speech, because his policies were pretty much moderate, just his rhetoric wasn't. You need that. You don't need an AOC clone, but if you want an AOC clone, we'll talk in 2024 about which Republican versus which Democrat will be putting up for nominations. Now, the other stupid idea that's starting to catch fire again in the United States, which is, fortunately, when you can see, sometimes a little light clears up some stupidity. Like I said, South Florida, we're anti-communist, anti-socialist. That is independence movement and separation in general. So, just saw another article in New York, another state rep, talking about dividing New York, this time into three. New York, which would be New York City, Montauk, which would be Long Island and Westchester, and New Amsterdam, which would be the part of the state that nobody wants to live in. That's right, I'm from the part of the state that nobody wants to live in, and trust me, nobody wants to live there. And by the way, for those of you who live in upstate New York and you think that this is a great idea to get rid of New York City from your tax rolls, New York City funds everything in New York State. Okay? They fund your schools, they fund your jobs because a lot of your jobs are, what's that right word? Government jobs. They fund, like I said, they fund your schools, they fund your prisons. And by the way, all you people that want to legalize pot in New York and you have, who do you think is going to be in those prisons if you don't have pot? If you can't go away for a year for a dime bag, yeah, they're not going to be replaced. That's one reason why when I hear people from upstate complaining that they're getting rid of our prisons, yeah, no shit, Sherlock, you don't have them full anymore because you've legalized pot. It's a good consequence, but it's bad for your state economy, or at least your upstate economy. And yeah, your bailout of Alcoa, that was from downstate because nobody in New York City cares about, an aluminum company on the Canadian border unless you own stock in Alcoa or whatever Alcoa is now. I know they did some weird splits, but you know what I mean. Stupid ideas spring when they have a vacuum to be created. And those stupid ideas were Catalonian independence. And I'm a fan of Catalonian independence. I believe in Catalonian independence because of how badly they've been treated. If they get to be full member of the EU, absolutely, but they won't. The Basques, the Scottish. Oh, and why it's a bad idea is Brexit. So in Europe, other than in the Ukraine, which those areas are, Ukraine isn't a real country anyways, and the Soviets, the Russians are more than helpful. We'll put it that way in separation movements in the Ukraine. Because Brexit is such a bad execution, a bad idea, and the problems are starting to come up, and who knows, maybe Brexit does have the hard exit, right? The no deal, which would be a nightmare for anybody wanting to deal business in the UK, and they just won't. Can't wait for those checkpoints to come up between Ireland and fake Ireland again. And how about getting food into London? Yeah, you Londoners? I know London support Brexit, so maybe it's the wrong person to pick on. Okay, people living in Liverpool or Wales, how are you going to get your food? Because right now you just take it from the ship, and gets on a lorry, as you call your trucks, and boom, goes to market. Now it's going to sit on the boat and it's going to go, okay, inspector, let's get all that fresh food and let's inspect it. Wait, why? Oh, because we can't do it because we're no longer in the EU anymore, so we can't just go, what? We have to have an inspectors, which we don't have hired, to check to make sure the food is good, which we don't have hired right now, to check all the things at the ports. You're going to take weeks and weeks and weeks to get food. And I know the British diet sucks and all your food is now Indian. How are you going to get all that curry into the country? Because again, ain't going to happen. It's going to be, you're going to be back to eating fish and chips. Well, I guess you're going to be back to eating chips because I think most of your fish also comes from Europe. So I guess the British staple diet is just going to be fries. And since we've already had KFCs run out of chicken, what are you guys going to eat? I don't know. Find out with Brexit. So Brexit's a stupid idea, as we've all found out. And again, for the Europeans that get to see how stupid it is, they're less Brexity. And for the Americans that don't, they're talking about splitting up New York State and California. And I know that as I say this, somebody will in the 60-day session in Florida talk about dividing the state between the state of Miami and the rest of Florida. Like and subscribe, hate and comment. If you can see stupid, you don't do stupid.